Hey everyone, Alyssa Knight here. Thanks for joining us for another week's episode of Night Squared. Got Mallory and a special guest. We've got, they look alike for a reason. They're
Yeah, hold it.
related. This is Matt Tocopolo. This is Mel's brother, my brother in law. Um, the smartest guy I know about, just smart about everything regarding cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. He's what I guess they like to say a Bitcoin maximalist is what
Almost.
um,
Pseudo maximalist.
uh, so I guess so. What we're going to do is we've never had a guest on our show before, so this is super cool, super fun. I want to talk about you know things that are more relevant to what Matt is involved in, which is just I'm going to have him introduce himself, update all of you on what's been going on with the Voyager bankruptcy that they filed, answer any questions that any of you might have about hardware wallets, cryptocurrency hardware wallets. Many of you who saw in the Scorched Earth film trailer, there was a hardware wallet hacking involved as well as in the film Heat. So we're gonna Matt explain what hardware wallets are, and also just kind of update all of you on why using them is important. And there's this common quote that Matt will get into about "not your key, not your coin." I think is what it is.
That's it.
And so yeah, so I'll without further ado, have Matt introduce himself, and we can get into the questions, answer any questions that all of you have. For those of you who just are joining from Shadow Academy, thank you for joining us. It was, I think, a great episode. Unfortunately, we had to end the episode because of this show, and I look forward to continuing to work with all of you to set up that certificate pinning bypass in the next episode of Shadow Academy. So, Matt, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience? Tell them who you are.
So I'm Melissa's brother and Alyssa's brother-in-law. I'm a independent skateboard filmmaker here in Vegas. I work in video production in Vegas, and I also help these two with their cybersecurity hacker short films. And I am a Bitcoin advocate, pseudo Bitcoin maximalist.
Sweet. So I think in previous episodes we had a Night Square. We talked a little bit about cryptocurrency and insecurity, and we're not going to dive too much into you know investing or anything of that, but really on the safety side of security and how to protect yourselves from any type of unknowns like investing your money and relying on an exchange to hold it. So Matt's here to kind of explain some solutions that are safer, and how much it costs to buy one or to buy the solution, how it works, the functionality, and just some pros and cons with having one and versus having your investments into an exchange like Voyager or Coinbase Pro. So I'm gonna hand it off to Matt.
Yeah, so I just want to, we've got some people making some shout outs. Red says hi, Hacker Buff, Funky Monk, Rhonda is with us as well. Thank you everyone for joining. We've got some actual Shadow Academy members with us in the chat today, so joining us. So we know a lot of you are joining from outside the United States. I know it's really late on the other side of the pond, so thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Yeah, so just want to give some shout outs. So go ahead, Matt.
Absolutely. So let's start from the beginning because I feel like the whole point of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies is to have custody of it, to be able to own it privately. It is giving property rights to 7 billion people in the world. Anybody who owns a smartphone could do this. Now, there's several types of wallets. So the very first kind of wallet was a paper wallet. This is when you actually wrote it down on a piece of paper. That was the first one. Then your secondary wallet would be everybody has a phone, so we'll call it a mobile wallet. That would be your warm or hot wallet because it's connected to the internet. And the safest and most secure way to store crypto or Bitcoin would be your hardware cold storage wallet, which is like a device like a Ledger Nano, and that device is not connected to the internet.
Right, it's a USB stick, right? So it basically looks like a USB stick. It's got
Yeah.
some of them have a little screen on them.
Yeah. So here's the common I guess confusion with those devices. It does look like a USB stick, but it's not being stored directly on that device. What the device does, it actually just creates a passphrase for you. So that's called your seed phrase or your private keys. So that's what it gives you. Sometimes 12, in most cases 24 words, and those 24 words will not be connected to the internet with that device. So it's basically a bridge or an intermediate in order to get your cryptocurrency seed phrase.
We have Ryan saying hello from Algeria. So we have Algeria with us. Rhonda says, thank you. I'm not happy with using Coinbase. I don't trust that they can keep my ID private. So there's some folks who are some Coinbase.
I agree.
Don't like Coinbase very much. Kerwin says, I'm curious as to what your thoughts are on crypto centralization.
So the whole point of Bitcoin was to be decentralized, and with these exchanges, yes, they're very convenient because it gives you the access to purchase Bitcoin or very accessibly and very easily, and other cryptocurrencies as well. I like to stick with Bitcoin. So if you just bear with me, I just like to say, hey, Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. It's just easier than to get into
the term Bitcoin maximalist.
So yeah, there's 20,000 cryptocurrencies. There's only one Bitcoin. I like to separate the two. Everything else besides Bitcoin is an altcoin, and then you got Bitcoin.
There's no second best.
There is no second best, right?
There's no second best.
So what was the centralization, right?
Yeah, Rhonda wanted. Oh, I'm sorry. Kerwin wanted to know what your thoughts were on crypto centralization.
So it depends on who you ask, because Bitcoin maximalists like a Max Kaiser or Michael Saylor, they'll tell you anything besides Bitcoin is centralized garbage. Everything else besides Bitcoin is a shitcoin. That's including Ethereum, yes. So the thing about these exchanges like Coinbase, and Coinbase is one of the biggest, Binance, like I said, it gives you the access to purchase these cryptocurrencies, but it is a centralized platform. So what ends up happening a lot with newbies or novices, they keep and this is probably from no fault of their own, maybe just lack of research or just being naive or ignorant to the fact that these digital assets don't need to live on the exchange. So let's say Coinbase or Binance or Voyager, those are what's called a custodial wallet. So you're giving custody of your assets to somebody else. So there's pros and cons to both. Like, it's nice because it's convenient. All you have to do is log in with your username and password. But at the same time, if anything happens to one of these exchanges, if it's hacked or if it becomes insolvent, not your keys, not your coins, right?
Right. Yeah. And, Mel and I felt the burn from this recently. I mean, the good news is Mel was smart enough to distribute I guess we have coins on different exchanges as well as the Nano that we have. Recently, unfortunately, with the bankruptcy filing at Voyager, Mel and I both lost about $50,000 in that. So, Matt, can you talk about the Voyager bankruptcy and why the threat of that moving into the future could be a threat for our viewers, and what they can do to avoid situations like that?
Sure. So I think before the whole Voyager thing happened, the first domino that started this whole collapse was the Terra Luna fiasco. They had a stable coin that was algorithmic, and that collapsed, and then Three Arrows Capital collapsed, and then Celsius. There was just one thing after another. So I think right around when Celsius, now Celsius isn't necessarily an exchange, it's a platform that gives you yield. So you deposit your Bitcoin or your Ether in there, and what they do is that they lend it out. They do whatever they do to it, and they probably make a lot of money. They trade it, and they give you a percentage per year. I think it was like 6% for every Bitcoin you put in there per year, which is nice. It sounds good. Voyager offered the same thing, but they were also an exchange. So you could buy, sell, and trade crypto, and also deposit your crypto in there and earn a yield, which is very tempting and very, you know, I guess, addicting once you get some of that, monthly yield, and you're like, holy shit, I didn't have to do anything besides put it in here, and I'm getting all this crypto in return.
And the yield is usually higher than a bank, right? They're trying to
Absolutely.
entice, what like a savings account yield is, what 0.01%. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it's not like how our parents had it,
Yeah,
back in the day.
and the point of them wanting to offer people a high interest rate on them keeping their coins there is so they can use their coins to invest it themselves as well, right?
Exactly.
Right. So, and what happened was everyone was attracted to the high interest rates at Voyager, thus why so many people lost so much because they were keeping it at Voyager for Voyager to invest that money. But unfortunately, now people can't pull their money up because they filed bankruptcy.
Real quick, if I can
Sure.
ensure. Yeah, and Alyssa, you're absolutely right. So Voyager had some interest rates that were even as high up to 12%. So, in reading some of these articles on the web, luckily Alyssa and I didn't invest all our eggs in one basket, but some did. And some took second mortgages out on their homes, took debt, pretty much maxed all their credit cards out and threw everything into Voyager. And what's crazy about it is that it's still under bankruptcy, and a bankruptcy can take up to a year, 2 years to resolve. So it's going to be stuck in the portfolio for a long time, and you see it. And right now, the Bitcoin price is going up, so you see your portfolio grow, but you can't take any money out of it. So it's really frustrating.
Keep me honest here, but I think you told me that the most upsetting thing for me in this was you telling me that I guess the CEO a year before this all happened obviously got wind that that company was not going to repay its debt to them, which ultimately is what caused this. It was the spiral, right? That he had cashed out 50 million before this.
31 million.
31 million.
Yeah, you know about it. Matt.
So I mean, it's was so. Red says he's a Trezor user.
Trezor's a good one, absolutely.
And Red wants to know, Matt, if you have a Twitter handle that you can, or your social media that you can give everybody.
Yeah, so I am on Twitter. I'm probably bigger on TikTok, but I have a link from my Twitter. So my Twitter handle is M Zicopula. My last name Zicopula.
We can actually put it in the comments.
Yeah, we'll add it as a comment.
We'll add it on there.
But Mel and I are big in cyber. Like Matt's a big deal in crypto and skateboarding. he's a legend. So Frederick says, "What thoughts do you have? What are your thoughts on super centralized coins?"
Honestly, I don't have much to say about too many coins outside of the top maybe 20. I mean, I try to focus on Bitcoin.
Super. There's that many coins. Like, what would you say? Like 10,000?
20, over 20,000, and about 90, at least 90% of them will all just kind of go away.
Right.
Either fail or they'll just drop by the wayside, and only it's like, I guess, pretty similar to the dot-com boom.
What recommendations do you have for our viewers for how they can, clearly with Voyager, people should just give up and say this crypto is not for me. There's too much risk. We want to still endorse people investing in crypto. What advice can you give them to do it safely?
So this is my recommendation always. Just find an exchange that you like to use. Let's say mine is Coinbase Pro, even though that's kind of going away. You buy Bitcoin. As soon as you buy it, obviously you're going to want to buy it on a dip so you get more of it, right? It's like, would you rather buy gasoline from somewhere that's $6 a gallon in California, or would you rather buy it at Costco, right? Where it's like $3.50 or whatever it is, right? So obviously you want to get more gas, more bang for your buck. So when the prices crash for Bitcoin, you buy it, and as soon as you buy it on the exchange, transfer it into your cold storage wallet.
Okay, so you don't recommend keeping. So I remember some time ago, you and Mel were really excited about how high these interest rates were that some of these exchanges were paying, and like I think something about them paying you back in a completely different coin. What was that one? Cardano that you guys are. So that obviously attracted you guys to those.
I have some good things to say about that one.
Okay, so but at the end of the day, though, let's forget about them enticing you with the high interest rates. you don't recommend people storing their money in exchanges at all.
No.
Your belief is, not your key, not your coin. So
Exactly.
buy it, move it off the exchange, and it doesn't matter how much the interest rate is. Forget the interest
It's not
rate.
worth it.
Not worth it. The risk just goes.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's like you keep it in there for a little bit, and then when you actually withdraw it, the fees are so much that you actually lose a lot of the
Wipe out
yield.
a lot of your yield.
Yeah, so unless you had it in there for like 3 years, which, I mean, Voyager was like offering this for what, like a year and a half. So,
How high can the gas fees get?
so gas fees are a little bit different.
Can you explain gas fees to everybody?
So when I think of gas fees, I think about the Ethereum network, because Ethereum has so many different projects built on top of it, and you have the NFTs, right? So it's pretty much a victim of its own success because it is the main platform for smart contracts, NFTs, and DeFi and DAOs and all that. Sorry for throwing all these terms. It's like pretty out there,
It's a whole
but
other language.
yeah. So it's pretty, like I said, victim of its own success. So there's so much going through Ethereum that, let's say if you're trying to buy an NFT using your Ether versus somebody else, it's like an auction or a bid, and pretty much whoever's going to pay the most in gas is going to get the purchase quicker.
Got it.
So that's why there's like, gas fee wars or whatever.
So buy a hardware wallet. I think Rhonda mentioned that she bought two nanos and Ledger Nanos, and neither worked very well. And so
All right,
she's
so
had a lot of challenges with the Ledger Nano.
my experiences with the Ledger Nano X, me and Mel went straight for the Ledger Nano X, which is like the better version from the S, but now they came out with a new one called the S Plus, which I guess is a little bit better. Depends on which one you have, but we've had really no problems with the Ledger Nano X. However, this is one thing I will say: don't buy it from an Amazon or eBay or another website like that, because you never know who had it before you, and maybe they installed some type of malware on it, and then you get it, you connect it to your stuff, and then they're able to hack through that somehow. But just buy it directly through Ledger's website, or let's say if you're doing Trezor, that's another reliable hardware wallet.
So Matt Kerwin wants to know: have you dabbled in Bitcoin mining? And if so, would it be something that you would recommend to people?
Not yet. I mean,
Why
considered it. Just, you want to.
Yeah.
Is it because it's the Bitcoin value of Bitcoin is too unstable?
No. The thing is that, do I like mining? Do I know how to set it up? Absolutely. I haven't done it yet. Problem is, living in Vegas, we're in such a hot climate. One, it's hard to get. You need super fast network interface cards, something like an NVIDIA card, and you need a server that can actually pump out. The CPU needs to be able to, you know, mine this activity as fast as possible. So you're looking at a semiconductor shortage. So getting the gear is actually very difficult. And then of course, storing it in a place where it can continue to not overheat is also going to be crucial. So for me, I haven't really dabbled in it. One, because it's the heat of the summer in Vegas. It takes time to actually source the servers and then actually set up the algorithm. The algorithm is surprisingly the easiest thing to do because it's all the same. You're just submitting an algorithm. What you're really doing to validate that transaction on the blockchain is you're fighting against other miners who have more horsepower to actually validate that transaction.
You're talking about like that company that we heard about that was like out in Middle America,
Matt's
running them
friend.
inside water coolers.
The guy we met in Vid Summit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Big Summit,
JP Barrick.
Yeah.
So is that
What
correct?
Mel was talking about was hash power. So
power, yeah.
a lot of Bitcoin maximalists believe that eventually Bitcoin's going to get so big that countries are going to have hash wars over who has the most hashing power over Bitcoin mining.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a cool word.
Hash wars. Yeah, it's pretty
That's the
interesting.
title of my next book. Hash wars.
But yeah,
Like that.
it never got into Bitcoin mining
Or movie.
That's so
itself, but I believe in mining. I believe in proof of work. The reason why Bitcoin is what it is because of proof of work.
Can you explain the difference between proof of work and
Proof of
mining?
stake?
Proof of stake.
Proof of stake. So proof of work is Bitcoin mining. So basically, you're using these powerful computers. They're competing against each other. The way I kind of think of it is like a rotary lock that you have that you're like, you kind of scroll for the numbers, or like a Rubik's cube, and everybody in a room has their own lock or Rubik's cube, and they're trying to figure out or get to the lock first, or solve the Rubik's cube first, and whoever does it the quickest is going to get the reward. But this is done with cryptography, with super advanced computers. It used to be done on a basic CPU or GPU, but the beauty about Bitcoin is that every 4 years, it's called the Bitcoin halving. The mining reward gets harder to mine, and it gets cut in half. So it started with 50. So the first block in Bitcoin was 50 Bitcoin, and then after 4 years, it was 25, and after another 4 years, 12 and a half. And right now we're at 6.25. Yeah, Bitcoin as a mining
As a
reward.
mining reward. Okay.
And then by 2024, the next halving is going to be half that, so it's going to be 3.125 Bitcoin.
So, Matt, Mel, Rhonda wants to know, what suggestions would you recommend regarding how to use Bitcoin in everyday transactions?
So the use case for Bitcoin, let's say for people who are privileged like us that live in America, because the dollar, even though it's been collapsing for a long time, and we're in inflation, especially now, we're not in hyperinflation like countries like Venezuela or Mexico and Argentina. So I wouldn't recommend spending Bitcoin. I would just hold it. But I do like spending it sometimes. Let's say if I give it to someone as a gift, I like to send Bitcoin to a wallet, to somebody else's wallet. Or let's say when I was at the Bitcoin conference in Miami this past year, I bought 3 books using Bitcoin,
Oh, wow.
which was it's nice. It's fun. It's completely peer to peer, and what they were big on is the Lightning Network, which is a second layer built on top of Bitcoin that doesn't affect the base layer at all. So it's very secure. The Lightning Network gives you 40 million transactions per second. So everyone complaining about Bitcoin being slow, being old, being the MySpace of cryptocurrency is pretty much bullshit, because the Lightning Network takes care of all that.
So, if you were a fortune teller,
Mhm.
what would you tell everyone is sort of the next big thing with Bitcoin? Like, what does the future hold for you, and in all this craziness right now?
I would say more countries adopting it. So El Salvador is the first one.
You mean like is there a country's currency versus like a fiat?
Yeah, so yeah, El Salvador was on the dollar before because their currency got completely wiped out. So they were using the US dollar, but now they're free of that. So a lot of these countries, they look at America as this big bully because we have this stronghold on them with the central banks, with the Federal Reserve and the fiat money that we have that's not backed by anything. It's just they could print as much as they want. That's what causes inflation. And since it's the world reserve currency, we kind of have everyone buy the you know what. So people are trying to look for an exit. They're trying to look for a way to opt out, and that's what Bitcoin is. And that's why proof of work is so important, because when you have something like proof of stake, somebody can just, it's pretty much you hold your portion that you own, let's say Ether or Cardano, and just by holding it there, it validates the transactions without the mining. So it uses less energy, um, but it also gives you a reward. So it's nice. So it's like, oh my god, I'm getting a reward. I'm getting some yield on my crypto just by holding it, and it's using less energy. But someone could just easily buy up all this Cardano or Ether and have more of a voting power. So it's basically recreating the fiat system.
Didn't Dubai just recently announce that they were building some sort of city that was going to be all like they were going to accept crypto?
Yeah.
It was like a crypto city or something that they're
Yeah,
building.
Dubai is really big, and they're very, I guess, pro crypto, and I guess forward thinking and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. So
Same thing with Ukraine. I think the president of Ukraine said that they were going to begin adopting that as well.
possibly, I don't know too much
Or
about
how the war is
about that.
adopting that.
Yeah, so to just kind of go back to the question about mining, I'll tell you what, when I have some time after Black Hat, I'll definitely look into it and see if Matt and I maybe could put together a mini server to stake. There's some altcoins that we can test it with, like that is a little bit easier than Bitcoin. that just are easier to mine. So I'll say within the next couple of months, I'll put together something that's easy for us to use and test it out and see if it's worth it. The second thing was there is a way to store another coin outside of Bitcoin called Cardano ADA, and Matt and I both stake it in this platform called Daedalus. So Matt, you want to go into Daedalus real quick?
Yeah. So.
By the way, Matt Owen said he completely agreed with what you just said.
Oh, right on.
Previously.
Awesome.
Good fan. What you just said.
Right on, Owen. Thank you. So Alyssa mentioned earlier about Cardano, and then Mel just brought it up. So this is one way where you could actually stake a cryptocurrency safely and earn a yield. So me and Mel got really into Cardano about a year and a half ago. This is before I kind of like went down the Bitcoin rabbit hole and was like, oh my God, I think Bitcoin's only one. But we were really kind of sold by Charles Hoskinson, right? Just as many of his followers and people who believe in Cardano, they're just like, oh my God, he's like the next Steve Jobs or whatever, or the Steve Jobs of our generation. So anyways, you can pair up their native wallet, which is the Daedalus wallet, or the Yoroi wallet. Daedalus is the desktop version. Yoroi is the mobile version. You could pair it with your ledger. So you have your private keys. Your Cardano is on the ledger. And then by virtue of having your Cardano or your ADA, which is Cardano is the name of the blockchain network, ADA is the name of the coin. You could have your ADA safely on there, and then you could delegate it to a staking pool. And then once it's in a staking pool, it gives you about 4.5% per year. So this is, in my opinion, the safest way to stake. This is not lending. You're not giving it to somebody else. You keep it in your own custody, and nobody's trading it on your behalf. So there's really no risk. And you could safely get 4.5% per year. Did that die on you?
Yeah, it keeps turning off for some reason. I don't know. Sorry about that, everyone. I'll just kind of keep an eye. I'll hold it like a TikToker.
Right.
Oh, and I just want to give a disclaimer. We're not financial experts. We're simply providing a solution to a safe way to hold.
We're not financial advisors.
Advisors
Licensed
or
financial
experts.
advisors. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. But
Yeah.
disclaimer you always see. Yeah.
But I am a financial hacker. Just kidding.
Yeah,
No,
we just given what happened to Alyssa and I just want to make sure everyone is safe, when they're putting their hard work money into a ledger or an exchange. And
But in your defense, though, I mean, it's like, look, 50,000 is a lot, but in all honesty, though, in full transparency, you did a really good job at spreading our money across multiple, multiple buckets, if you will. So, I mean, yeah, we, for us, that was managed risk. But ideally in the future, sorry, mine just died. Sure. Ideally in the future, we'll want to make sure that we keep that in our hardware wallet, and I think it was definitely an expensive lesson learned, but we all live to fight, another day, and that's all about that's the most important thing, is that you're never putting more money at risk than you can tolerate a loss with. If you lose that, you need to ask yourself, how much will this hurt me if this exchange goes away, or like that one guy who took the money and ran, can't remember, Long Duck Dong, what was his name? Sorry, Do Kwon. You all we remember 16 Candles, right? Long Duck Dong. Anyway, I could never remember his name. But yeah, it's all about your risk appetite and what you're able to risk financially at any given time. Everyone has different everyone has different risk levels for what they're able to risk, and what just everyone has a different financial situation. So yeah.
Absolutely. And yeah, Mel did do a great job at um, spreading them out between different exchanges and having some in the hardware wallet and some in Voyager to earn that interest. I remember in the beginning, I was like really hesitant and really like skeptical. I was like, I don't know about this interest. I'm like, it seems nice, but I'm like such a purist, or like such a, I don't know. I get paranoid. So I'm always like, not your keys, not your coin. Put in the hardware wallet. Call it a day.
I mean, you lost what, like $50 in this whole thing too. It's like something nominal. Right?
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like I. So
20 bucks.
here's my strategy. Most of my Bitcoin, all of my Bitcoin, most of it, I'm saying like 99% is in cold storage in the ledger, right? Then I have just a little bit in a mobile wallet called the Trust Wallet, which is free, and it gives you a seed phrase as well. So it's two separate seed phrases, right? One for the ledger, one for the mobile wallet, and it's really easy to use. And then I have a third wallet called a Lightning wallet. So if you want to send Bitcoin super quick with virtually no fees, get yourself a Lightning wallet. I use what's called a Wallet of Satoshi, and so that gives me the cold storage, mobile wallet, and the Lightning wallet.
So we're coming down to the bottom of the show here, but Rhonda made a comment. She's an accountant, and when she does taxes each year, she has so much to report to the government on, regarding who owns how much crypto. And she said she loves 16 candles. Good reference. Thank you, Rhonda. Appreciate that. I didn't know if anyone got that reference. But Matt, we definitely need to have you on the show again. You're a wealth of knowledge when it comes to this kind of stuff. When you're listening to me talking about hacking APIs, it's probably sounds the same as it does for me listening to you talk about, crypto and all the different acronyms. It was a real pleasure having you on the show today. Thank you for sharing all your knowledge and helping to keep our viewers safe out there and investing in crypto. And so I'll just kind of let you two close us out on this show. For those of you, just a quick word on hacking APIs and cryptocurrency exchanges. My latest research report on hacking cryptocurrency exchanges is coming. I was planning on getting that done by Black Hat, but unfortunately, we had too much going on with the film premiere. And I know some of you in the chat right now are actually here in Vegas and will be attending, so we'll see you tomorrow. Look forward to seeing you actually in real life. Mel and I just went to the pre-screening today. It was awesome. The theater looks amazing. We're excited about it. Matt will be there tomorrow as well. So for those of you who really enjoyed getting to know Matt tonight, he'll be at the premiere tomorrow working with us. So he's my first assistant director at Night Studios and was the first AD on all of our past films, including the one that's premiering tomorrow. So we're super lucky to have him with the team and obviously as my brother. So so that's going to be coming. I'm excited about that. It'll basically walk you through the numerous cryptocurrency exchanges that I hacked through their APIs. So stay tuned for that. And then some of the cryptocurrency exchanges that I've hacked in the past as part of the Scorched Earth research. That white paper is available for download. You can download it from No Name Security, and it walks you through the different cryptocurrency exchanges that I hacked in the past. So with that, I'll let Matt and Mel close us out.
I just want to say thanks for having me, and thank you for all the kind words. And I love being your guys' brother.
Oh, Funky says all the best for the premiere. We're gonna rock it.
Yeah,
that's right. And I guess the last thing I'll say is, I mean, this is a new asset class. Do your due diligence, do your research, read the books, follow the influencers. I'm talking about like the big ones like Michael Saylor.
Yeah, he's a good one to follow, right?
Yeah, and stick with Bitcoin. I'm just going to put that out there. People are saying it's more of a risk-off asset at this point. It's the scarcest asset made by mankind. So buy it, put in cold storage, and just wait. Yeah, call it a day. Wait at least 10 years.
Yeah. I am so proud of Matt. That was awesome. Matt, we're gonna put in his TikTok, obviously, and his Instagram handler down in the comments. We're also gonna put some books that he recommends that he actually had me read that were really beneficial in educating myself on cryptocurrency. So he has some really good recommendations. We'll also put in the comments as well, and hopefully he can come back on the show. But I'll say goodbye to everybody. I'll let Alyssa.
Thanks, everyone. I just want to do some shout outs. Hacker Buff, thanks for joining us. I know we've got a lot of Shadow Academy members with us right now. Red7, thanks for joining us. Corey, Funky Monk is here. Thanks, Funky, for joining us. I always want to call him Funky Monkey. but everyone's wishing us luck in the premiere. Everyone's saying this was a great show. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us tonight. I know you did 2 shows. You got stuck with me for 2 different shows. Thank you for joining both shows. We love you too, Anna. Anna says she loves us. Thanks for joining, everyone. I know we've got people from the Middle East right now coming in, Africa, everyone across the Atlantic and Pacific. Everyone, thank you for joining us. We love all of you. The world has got a lot of assholes in it right now. There's a lot of mean people out there, so take care of yourselves and each other. Thanks, everyone. We gotta kill the stream.
Good job, Matthew.
Right on.